Hey there, how's it going? It's Isaac Schade, and today I'm going to be teaching you how to play chords that are associated with the key of C major, which is also A minor. Same kind of deal there. So for those of you who are looking to learn how to play some basic chords, when you're playing in the key of C, these are the chords that you'll most likely be playing. So what we'll do is start with C and just work our way up the scale, D, E, F, G, A, B, back to C. Of all the different chords that you'll find. So let's begin at the beginning and do a C. This is your basic C chord. You start with your ring finger on the 3rd fret A string, middle finger on the 2nd fret D string, and your index finger on the 1st fret B string. Okay? That is your basic C. And you don't want to hit the top E. You just want to hit that C. And the reason is because when we get to E in a minute, there's another nice chord called a C over E, which means that it's a C chord with an E in the bass. That'll add a little extra there. So for your C, you can do that. For a C suspended, if you add your pinky on the 3rd fret D string, hear the difference there? That's a nice sound. Or you can take your middle finger off and only have your ring and your index finger. That's a nice sound. Okay, so there's some different C's for you. And if you've watched my video on chords in the key of G, you'll know that this is another C, but I rarely play this version of C when I'm in the key of C, so I'm not going to even tell you that one. You'll have to watch the key of G video if you want to learn that one. Alright, the next is D, C, D, and the second note of every scale is minor, so it's a D minor. Alright, and if you know your regular D, it's very similar. The difference is the E string, instead of the 2nd fret, we're on the 1st fret. And you finger it differently. You still use your ring finger on the 3rd fret B string, except the difference in a D minor and a D major is that on a D major you use your index finger on the G string 2nd fret. For this D minor that we're going to play, we're going to use our middle finger on the G string 2nd fret because our index finger is going on the E string 1st fret. And that's a D minor. Okay? It's a nice eerie sounding chord. And as always, you can play the bar version of that, which is just like any other bar chord. We're on the 5th fret. You bar the bottom 5 strings with your index finger. Ring finger is on the 7th fret D string. Pinky finger is on the 7th fret G string. And your middle finger is on the 6th fret B string. That's also a D minor. It's just easier to play down here when you're doing kind of free-form chords. Okay? Next, the third one is E, and the 3rd note of a scale is minor. Okay? So that's an E minor, one of the more basic chords to play. I don't like to do it, if you watched my key of G video, you know that I like to do E minor this way. But with the key of C, I'm not ever having my pinky and ring fingers down there. If you don't know what I'm talking about, you need to watch that video as well. But for the E minor, when I'm playing in the key of C, I just like to do the regular, which will be your middle finger or index if you want to do it, but I like to use my middle on the A string 2nd fret and your ring finger on the D string 2nd fret and strum all the chords. That's your E minor. And you've also got the C over E, which we were talking about earlier, which is a C chord, except this time you do hit this top E string. And that's your C over E. Okay? So that leads us nicely into the F chord. Now your basic F chord is this bar chord where you bar all 6 strings on the 1st fret, middle fingers on the 2nd fret G string, pinky is on the 3rd fret D, ring is on the 3rd fret A, and there's your F chord. Now a lot of people play an F chord in kind of a cheater F chord sort of way to make it easier to change between a C and an F and a G. And the reason is you've got your C chord here. Well, to change to an F, all you have to do is take your middle finger, move it still on the 2nd fret down to the G string, and add your pinky here on the D string 3rd fret. And you'll notice that's very similar to what the F bar chord is. We're just leaving the E open at the bottom. And if you're flexible and you got a big enough hand, you want to reach that thumb around and get the 1st fret E string. And there's your F. Very simple change between the C and the F, as you can see. Another way to play the F is even simpler. What you're going to do, here's your C chord. You leave your index finger alone on the B string. Just like the other cheater F chord, you're going to bring your middle finger down to the 2nd fret G. And instead of using your pinky, you're just going to bring your ring finger down to the D string 3rd fret. And there's a nice little F chord. Okay? And you can still do this if you want to. Wrap around. And what you can do with your pinky is some people like to add it on the 3rd fret E string there. I don't really think it sounds that great, but you can. Okay? So there's your F. That'll take us now. The F was the 4th chord, which is major. And the 5th chord in the C scale is G. And the 5th chord in a scale is major as well. This is the G that I play when I'm in the key of G. I don't really like to do that in the key of C. The G I like to play, since we're right here at C, alright, you just take your ring finger up to the 3rd fret E string, your middle finger up to the 2nd fret A string, and you add your pinky down here on the 3rd fret E string. That's a nice G chord. Very simple to get to from the F or the C. And if you need to play a G suspended, you just add your index finger on the 1st fret B string. It's a nice little sounding deal there. So there's your 5th chord, which is the major G. Now we move on to the 6th chord, which is A. Alright, and the 6th chord is always minor, so we're going to play an A minor. Your basic A minor is your middle finger on the D string 2nd fret, your ring finger on the G string 2nd fret, and your index finger on the B string 1st fret. Okay, and you don't want to strum this top E up here. Start on this A to get that bass. Okay, if you need an A7, you simply just, same thing, but you take your ring finger off. Another A minor chord that sounds pretty cool is if you just add your pinky on the 3rd fret E string. That sounds good. What I don't like to do in the key of C is play this A minor that I taught you in the key of G video. Doesn't really go as well with the key of C. Alright, the last chord I'm going to teach you is built on the 7th note of the C scale, which is B. And you don't rarely ever hear any sort of regular B in the key of C, but you will hear a G over B, which means that it's a G chord with a B in the bass. Okay? And what I like to do for the G over B is use your index finger on the B note, which is the 2nd fret A string, and use your ring and pinky fingers on the 3rd fret down on the B and E strings. And you don't want this E to ring out, so what you do is gently place your middle finger on the E string. Don't press down so that it sounds, just rest it on it so that it doesn't make any noise at all. That way you're getting this B, G over B. You want to hear that B bass. Okay? So there you go. That's all the chords that you'll probably mostly need associated with the key of C. Occasionally you'll get some other weird chords thrown in, but for the most part, those are the chords you'll need. Hope that helps. Thanks for